Hi, I'm Andy Burrows for PCT TV, and I'm here today with Nermeen Varawalla, who's Senior Vice President and Head of Clinical Development at BTG. Thanks for being with us today. So first up, could you just tell me a little bit about what BTG does and your role?
Absolutely, Andy. So BTG is a hugely interesting specialty pharmaceutical and medical device business. We are headquartered in the UK and have a global business and a global footprint. And what's particular and special about BTG is we see ourselves as being pioneers in what we call interventional medicine. Now, arguably every medicine is interventional. But what makes our portfolio and therapy special is that these are image-directed therapies, often a combination of a pharmaceutical product and a device that's administered locally at the point of care. And that's what makes us particularly interesting. And our portfolio is across a number of therapeutic areas: oncology, pulmonology, and vascular, to name the key ones.
So, as you say, is your portfolio, given that it does oversee both devices and drugs, how do you select the best approaches for generating clinical evidence that you need?
Given that the regulations for device registration are different from those of pharmaceutical registration, and then there's a difference in different markets of the world, in particular within the FDA, in the United States under the FDA jurisdiction, and in Europe, the approach is very much to the first extent tailored according to the regulations and the registration status of the product.
Right.
Then the next very important piece is that just achieving registration is the first step. Then the next big hurdle is reimbursement. And of course that would depend on the requirements of the reimbursement authorities in those regions. And then we work very hard to find the data that will meet the needs necessary to drive the adoption of our products, which includes the needs of our physicians and our patients. And it's only after taking all those requirements into consideration we craft the right design with respect to collecting that evidence. So typically in pharmaceutical-led clinical development or pharmaceutical-focused clinical development, the randomized controlled trial, the phase 3 study, is still very much the gold standard. Now that is a very expensive, resource-intensive and prolonged way of conducting clinical trials, and within BTG our framework allows us the opportunity to look for smarter designs outside the standard gold standard construct.
Ah, right, okay. And I wonder if you could describe to me your approach for collecting real-world evidence.
So with respect to collecting real-world evidence, we're using our approach and experience is still in its infancy, but the space in it is in its infancy, but I'd like to think we're being very innovative and figuring out new ways to do this. So we are making initial forays into what we are calling e-digital, which is about collecting clinical evidence through patient-reported outcomes. Then we are assessing whether there's a place for implantables or wearables to actually deliver real-time data that's linked to our therapies and products. So apart from those highly creative approaches, we then also rely on the conduct of registries as well as retrospective analyses of the experience of our users. And it's that entire spectrum that constitutes the body of evidence that constitutes real-world data for us.
And how do you engage with the vendors?
So you may know that my own background is in the CRO industry, and I've spent the better part of a decade in the CRO industry. And given the needs of our portfolio, and as I've described, our particular needs, our approach is to work selectively with CROs. Right. So we've moved away, the full service outsourcing doesn't suit us, but we work with a number of vendors, but in a far more niche, customized fashion, working with them for our requirements and to supplement the in-house expertise. And in our view, this blended model works very well and suits us very well.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Great pleasure.